By the end of this video, you'll have a good idea of whether Trials of Mana is worth your time and if it's still holding up in 2025. Trials of Mana, originally released back in 1995 as Seiken Densetsu 3 in Japan, was remade in 2020 with a fresh coat of 3D graphics, voice acting, and modernized gameplay. It's an action RPG that combines the thrill of real-time combat with a story that lets players choose from a range of characters, each with their own unique backgrounds and abilities. The game's appeal lies in its replayability, with multiple character combinations, choices that affect the story, and a battle system that's fast and exciting. The remastered version of Trials of Mana looks fantastic, especially considering it came out a few years ago. The vibrant, colorful world looks inviting and charming, with detailed character models that have a pleasant, almost anime-like aesthetic. The environments are beautiful, offering a nice balance between areas full of lush forests and ominous dungeons. However, while the visuals are enjoyable, they aren't exactly cutting edge by 2025 standards. There's a noticeable drop in the texture detail when you look closely, and some character animations can feel a bit stiff in certain scenes. If you've played more recent RPGs, you might notice that the visuals can sometimes feel a bit dated compared to more polished 2025 releases. The story in Trials of Mana centers around the quest for the Mana Sword and saving the world from a destructive force. While it's a classic RPG plot, the narrative isn't particularly groundbreaking or complex. The game offers a choice of 6 main characters, each with a unique backstory. But unfortunately, some characters feel more fleshed out than others. For example, characters like Angela and Duran have interesting stories and motivations, while others feel less memorable. The branching storyline, where you can choose a different set of characters for each playthrough, adds a lot of replay value, but the plot remains simple and straightforward. One downside here is that the voice acting, although a nice addition, doesn't always hit the mark. Some of the dialogue can feel a bit wooden or forced, which may pull you out of the experience, especially if you've become accustomed to the high-quality voice work found in more modern RPGs. Where Trials of Mana truly shines is its real-time combat system. It's fast-paced, fluid, and satisfying, especially when you unlock new abilities and power-ups for your characters. Combat is about timing your attacks, using skills, and strategically switching between characters during battle. The system is intuitive, and there's a real sense of satisfaction when you chain combos together and take down enemies. However, the combat does have its flaws. As fun as it is, it can start to feel repetitive after a while, especially if you're grinding for levels or items. The enemy variety is also lacking at times, and the difficulty curve can feel a bit unbalanced. There are moments where you might breeze through fights, only to be hit with a sudden spike in difficulty that can make you feel like the game is testing your patience. While combat is fun in short bursts, it can become a bit of a chore if you're not invested. Exploration in Trials of Mana is enjoyable, with plenty of hidden secrets, treasure chests, and side quests to uncover. The game world is expansive, with diverse environments like forests, caves, and towns to visit. However, the world design can sometimes feel a bit linear, with paths that don't allow for much freedom. The layout of dungeons, in particular, can feel repetitive, with many of them following the same basic structure. Enter, fight waves of enemies, find a key item, and face the boss. If you enjoy linear experiences, this might not be a huge issue. But for those who prefer more open-world exploration, Trials of Mana might feel a little limiting. One of the strongest points of Trials of Mana is its replayability. With 6 playable characters and a branching story, there's a lot of incentive to replay the game multiple times to see all the different outcomes. Each character brings something unique to the table, and their stories intersect in interesting ways. However, the game doesn't go far enough to make each playthrough drastically different. While the choice of characters impacts the plot and some interactions, many of the core events stay the same. The combat, while fun, also doesn't drastically change between characters, so the replay value is more in the story than in the gameplay itself. The music in Trials of Mana is a standout feature. The remastered soundtrack retains the classic tunes while adding a fresh, modern sound to the arrangements. The music perfectly complements the world and battles, providing an immersive atmosphere that enhances the experience. However, the audio in general, especially the sound effects during combat, can feel a bit underwhelming compared to more modern RPGs. It's good, but not revolutionary. So, is Trials of Mana worth playing in 2025? If you're a fan of action RPGs with a classic feel, you'll likely enjoy the vibrant world, exciting combat, And replayability. The remastered version offers a polished look at a beloved classic, and there's a lot to like about it. However, the game isn't without its flaws. The story is simple and somewhat forgettable. The combat can become repetitive, and some of the technical aspects, like voice acting and character animations, feel dated compared to newer titles. If you're looking for a deeply immersive RPG with cutting-edge visuals and groundbreaking storytelling, Trials of Mana might not be the best choice, but if you want a fun, nostalgic experience with some modern polish and don't mind a few repetitive moments, it's definitely worth checking out. Just be cautious about expecting it to feel as fresh as the latest RPGs on the market. If you're curious about One Piece Odyssey and want to know whether it's worth your time, make sure to click the link right here. Whether you're a long-time One Piece fan or just looking for a new RPG to dive into, this review will give you all the details you need. Don't miss it. Click the link now for the full review.